This is Diane Peters from jcharvestinvestments.com. How are you doing today? Well, it's Thursday, and I have to admit, it's been a real tough week. I'm really exhausted. But the best thing last night, I got to see my sweet little Remy. I had dinner with her and her dad. I love my Remy. Hi, Remy. It's Grandma saying hi to you. Today, I want to talk about my experiences when I worked in a corporation. And I guess all of you are aware of what's going on with Facebook. Hope they don't shut me off with this comment, but I mean, I don't even understand. This is a sad thing. I mean, this young man, he's 33 years old, he's CEO of a corporation. You're on the Hill, you're testifying, and then someone from your organization sends a letter to two major influencers on your Facebook page. I mean, and you tell them that you're taking down their site because it's something bothering the community. I don't know what, but it's like, who's running that circus? And that's the problem. When you get so big, no one had the nerve to say, hey, if we're going to do this, let's at least wait until the guy comes off the Hill. But no, that man's sitting there, and what does this congresswoman say to him? How come these two people sent this letter, and here you're claiming you're trying to control, but you really can't? That's what happens in major corporations. They lose touch. And the unfortunate thing, the CEO is always going to be held responsible. And I've worked in companies like, I'll never forget the thing that happened in a major company I worked with a gentleman, the COO, was fired because he was talking about the CEO. So I'm wondering today, in today's society, with all the technology that we have, are we still that ignorant? Is like our inner group not aware of what's going on? Because how in the world could you give ammunition to somebody to go against the head of your organization? And if I have to say anything, you have to be aware of what's going on. You cannot just assume that what you think is happening is really happening. I mean, just think about it. If you're leadership, you're at the top, and if what's happening down below, it filters down. So by sending a letter to two people who are very vocal, politically, yes, but they have a platform. And if Facebook is for everybody, then these two women should be able to do whatever they're doing. Because if you can't control what's going on politically, and you can't control pedophiles, and you can't control this, how do you find out that these two women are a menace to your society? It sounds like somebody in your organization had it out for these two women. So that's the one thing. When you get an organization that's so big, and especially when you become public, you can't do whatever you want, and that message has to come from the top. Listen, we've got to watch out, because it's no longer just my company, it's a publicly traded company. I remember one company I was at, and there was a scandal that went on, and I'll never forget those stockholders. It was a stockholders meeting. Believe me, I always wanted to go to a stockholders meeting, but I had to deliver some data to the executives that were there. Those people were screaming and yelling, and because it was an international scandal, it was the worst experience. I mean, I'm seeing people dressed in suits and ties and older people just screaming and yelling, not even allowing the head speaker, the person who was supposed to be in charge of the meeting, to talk about anything. It was the most, oh my gosh. After that, I said, I never want to have a public company. But it's just that you have to know, if you're leading, I don't care if you're leading a corporation, if you're leading a little small business, you have to be aware, and you have to have clear communication about the mission statement, what you want your company to, what image you want to portray. Everybody has to be on the same page. And you can't have those rebels, I mean, I'm just going to use Facebook because it's the example. When it was just him, and he was meeting daily with everybody, I don't know whether he does that now or not, it was a little bit easier to manage. But once you become a public company, all bets are off. and that's one thing that you have to be careful of, is that everybody clearly has this, understands what your mission statement is. What you have to clearly communicate how we want to portray ourselves in the public, and you can't just fly by the seat of your pants. That's a nice idea, but again, I have to emphasize, not for a public company. You can do that for your small little company, but don't you dare do it for a public company, because you see what's happening to Mark Zuckerberg. So I have to say that part of what his experience is the inner workings of major corporations today. I didn't like it, the environment, and if it wasn't that, it was political. So I've always wanted to own my own business and do my own thing just because of that. And I don't mind being small, because I don't want, I think the message gets kind of cloudy, because it's just like those little monkeys they have that you tell one person one thing and you tell somebody another, and the message gets really, really diluted. So I have a lot of empathy for this man standing up there, and he took full responsibility for everything that happened. That's a good leader. But I have to say that, be careful. Be careful with your company, your organization. And, I'm a recruiter for the franchise industry. So I say to anybody that is a franchise owner, you make sure that you're careful with your business, and that you make sure that everybody understands this is the business model we're representing, and we have to follow it, because you do. And because there's always somebody, because Zuckerberg, this information got out, somebody told on him. Might have been somebody in his organization. So you can't always control everything, but the one thing you have to do is put in place a strong team of people who understand your mission statement, the way you want your company to be portrayed. Because honestly, once they found out that the people in Facebook, the people's information had been used incorrectly, the first thing they should have done was come out and say, "We are sorry." That would have put them ahead. You think telling the truth is bad, but in the long run, it's not, because these people are just knocking this poor guy around. And I feel for him, I really do, because he's, I don't think he deserves everything that everyone's saying about him. But again, I have to say, you have to corral your people. You have to know what's going on. You don't need what happened with him, a congresswoman telling him, well, if you can't control this, how come this happened to this person? You don't want that. So I say to all of you that work out there and you have a leader, or if you are a leader, be good to your people, but also those of us that work for other people, let's be good to them as well. This is a serious message, but I thank you for listening. Have a great day. This is Diane Peters from jcharvestinvestments.com.